think I'm right. Alright, so here's my number one time when Ritchie Blackmore outdid Jimmy Page. Kill the King. This song is a speed metal gem, one of the heaviest, fastest, and most technical things to come out of the 1970s. It's the kind of playing that falls way outside of anything that Page would even try to imagine, let alone be able to do on a technical level. And maybe beyond his ability to conceive as well as play. Now don't get me wrong, Page is all about atmosphere, vibe, and magic, but Blackmore with Kill the King was just flat out shredding a decade before shredding was even a thing. This is Blackmore at his most musically adventurous, ahead of the curve, and maybe even a little bit spooky. Now, my point number two would be the album Perfect Strangers. Deep Purple's Perfect Strangers is a great album, and I've done a video just on it as a perfect album. I've also done a video on my top 5 heavy metal albums, and I included Deep Purple's Perfect Strangers, even though I could buy the argument for it not technically being a heavy metal album. So anyway, let's set the stage. When Zeppelin broke up, Page never really found a way to relight the torch despite a few projects here and there. He had The Firm, and he had an abandoned project with ex-members of Yes, but Blackmore was able to resurrect Deep Purple from its ashes in 1984 like a heavy metal phoenix, and Perfect Strangers wasn't just a resurrection or a reunion album, it's one of Deep Purple's greatest albums ever. It's a full-on statement, a full return to form, modernized for a new decade, but they never lost the soul of what made Deep Purple great. Compare that to Led Zeppelin, who never managed to regroup, and you could argue that this is one time when Blackmore actually triumphed over Jimmy Page. Point number 3, the California Jam Fire. And finally, we have one of the most famous things that Ritchie Blackmore is known for, and this is something where Blackmore pulled off something Page would have never even attempted to do. At that legendary show in 1974, Blackmore not only smashed his guitar, he literally set the stage ablaze by lighting his amps on fire. There was an explosion that nearly deafened a cameraman and knocked off Ian Pace's glasses, and even hit Blackmore in the back with a piece of shrapnel. And I think this is one of Blackmore's greatest non-musical statements, and it created an image that lives forever in classic rock infamy. Page is a sinister figure, and he has a lot of atmosphere around him, and he's very charismatic, but Blackmore gave us fire and mayhem literally on stage. And if you want to seek out the interviews that Blackmore gave about the event, they're funny as heck, and he tells you his motivations and how it all came to pass. So it's one part genius, one part accident, but very well worth listening to. So there you have it. 3 times I think Ritchie Blackmore actually outdid his unspoken rival Jimmy Page. Was Blackmore really the more daring, technical, and unpredictable guitarist? Probably not. In these 3 instances, he makes a strong case for being even more of an eccentric and even more of a musical adventurer than Jimmy Page. Do you agree with me, or do you think that Jimmy Page still wears the crown as rock's ultimate wizard? Let me know down below. Now, I hope you understand that I'm a big fan of both of these guitar players and characters in classic rock history, and I think that the fact that they had this unspoken rivalry was actually good for both of them. I think it made both of them dig deeper. I think they have mutual respect for one another, and I do think it's interesting to see times when the rivalry resulted in a great degree of brilliance from either one of them. This is what I think, but what really matters is what you think. So if you have an idea about this or any other topic connected to classic or contemporary music, please drop in the section below, and remember to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.
Music Guru here, asking you to help us on our march to 10,000 subscribers.